Pain to Power, welcome. Today is all about energetics, personal power, shadows, how to alchemize those shadows, and how to really start to be the leader in your own life, which is where you find your power. So, welcome, beautiful ladies. I'm so happy to see you, to see your faces. This is a vortex of transformation. So what we're going to be doing over the next 60 minutes, and I will stick to 60 minutes because I respect your time, is we're going to calibrate to a different frequency. So even just being in the space together, we're going to raise our vibration. So this is where we step into personal responsibility, but on a radical scale. We're going to lean into discomfort and learn to really alchemize energy, what that means and how that's possible for us. So the first thing, try and be in the room together. So close your tabs. Close off your tabs, turn off your phone, light a candle, give yourself the time that you need to just be here. It's so rare, it's so precious that we have this time, and I really treasure being here with you all, so just be here. And with that being said, just take a moment, drop in, close your eyes. And maybe place one hand onto your belly, one hand onto your heart. We'll do it together. We'll just arrive in a space. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. Just allow yourself to land here. For your energetic body to catch up with your physical body. We spend so much time running around with 101 things on our minds. So just allow all of these bodies to be drawn together, just arrive. And just allow yourself to breathe here. If you feel tightness or tension, take another deep breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. And do this whenever you need. Beautiful. So we are co-creating this experience. This is us together here in this energy. So first thing, can you drop into the chat and just share where you're from, what you do with your time, whether that's work or other things that you like to do with your time, because we are so much more than work, we all know that. And something that you believe is possible for you. What is possible? So where are you from? What do you do? What's possible? So I'm from Winchester, I live in Brighton. I do lots of things that currently my mission, my purpose, my calling here is to share this work with as many women as possible. And I believe that we have the power to reclaim our feminine power and to change the world. So that's what I believe, not only is possible for me, but what's possible for all of you. So don't overthink it. Where are you from? What do you do? And anything that's possible. That might just be like, I'm going to cook something delicious for dinner. Don't overthink it. And so while you are all dropping that in, this is an opportunity to connect with other women, other sisters. And that's a big part of the work that I do, is breaking down this competitive shame relationship that we have with other women. So just take a moment and just look at the other women that are here. It's so beautiful. We have such a tight group of energy today. And that's so special because we get to create this space together. Liva, you've worked with me before. That's what it's all about. We create this energy. We share in this experience and together we rise. You know, I might be presenting, but ultimately this is about us together, right? Raising in our energy. So let's dive in. Today, I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and kind of how I came to be here. We're going to look into shadow states, what that actually means, because that's spoken about a lot in personal development and in spiritual work. But what does it actually mean? And then alchemy. Part of that is acceptance and awareness. We're going to rewrite the narrative of how to alchemize, how to look at those shadow states so that you can take personal responsibility and step into your feminine power. And So just for clarity, we both have the masculine and feminine energies within us. They just dominate at certain times. We're able to pull from them when we need it. So I'm talking about the energetic perspective of feminine power, which is the path back to love. Okay. Kirsty from Cumbria, I run my own business, painter, decorator. Hi, Kirsty. Looking forward to having some time off. Olivia from the Lake District, business manager, on a personal mission to dig as deep as I can into myself and rise above all the blockages. There you go. Laria from Rome, moved to London, working nutrition, also doing yoga. Perfect. Haven't found your thing yet. Okay, that is a big part of the journey. And just to speak to that, finding the thing that really calls you comes from often just digging into this stuff. And the answers just come when we're least expecting them. So I am so excited for you to be looking into this and to be diving into this work. So I started doing this work about 10 years ago. It was catalyzed by an awful ex-boyfriend that I had, who sat me down one day and told me that he thought that he didn't love me as much as I loved him. And after the kind of soul-crushing heartbreak, in the moment I was able to turn around, because I had this realization that actually I needed to love myself, because I was going to love myself more than he was going to ever love me. And I turned around to him and I said those words. And in that moment, my life changed, because I put it out into the universe and then I had to hold myself to it. And that was a catalyst for me quitting my job, flying on a one-way ticket to India and saying, okay, what was it going to take? What is it actually going to take for me to learn to love myself? And a big part of that was facing what you're afraid of. I got thrown into hospitals in India on my own, in places with people rattling in the walls because they wanted to escape, and three-legged dogs, and I'm lying on a hospital bed. Nobody speaks English. My phone's run out of battery. I don't have a phone charger. This is it. This is literally my worst nightmare. What am I going to do? So I meditated and I meditated and I meditated until I realized that the thing that I was afraid of had come to show me the path to my healing. And that has become a theme throughout all of my journey, is about how do we look at the thing we're afraid of? Because we create these stories around fear, and that holds us. And what happens when we're in these states of fear is our hearts close. And even this morning, I was reminded of this. I was in a ceremony with one of my teachers, and this ceremony was going on and on. And I felt the fear rising up in me. I felt my stomach was constricting, and I felt like I needed to go to the loo. And that is a learned reaction. I know that when I'm uncomfortable, I need to run to the bathroom. But I sat with it. And she carried on. We were there for 3.5 hours this morning in ceremony. I'm like, is this ever going to end? And it did. The moment I accepted and I surrendered into that moment, my whole body relaxed and I was welcomed into this state of joy. But that only came because I was able to say, okay, this is what's here. I'm okay with what's here. So that's really the kind of the background around a lot of the shadow work, and really around a lot of the work that I do is helping people to move through these states, to realize that fear is the thing that holds us. And actually, when we can face what we're afraid of, we have unlimited potential. Because just for a moment, in the chat, just write down what would be possible if you had no fear. What would you do if you woke up tomorrow and you had literally no fear? What is one thing that you'd do? For me, it would be jumping out of an airplane, because I want to feel that freedom of flying, but I'm terrified of flying. It's my next hurdle to conquer. We'll see how that one goes. What would you do? Because it holds us. And when we look at what we're afraid of, we're able to see where the work is. Because I know from my own experience, and I'm still working through this, that this fear of death that we have, that is so ingrained in our society, that's what keeps me from jumping out of an airplane. I don't have the trust that the parachute will open. Will my fear be what stops me from experiencing something? I do that, but I get a cough, not a tickle. Yeah. I mean, the pandemic, right? Like when that started, you'd cough and you'd suddenly, coronavirus is in your body. Is it, or is it just a fear? So just taking a moment to think about that, and to, as we move through, just ask that question for yourself. What would you do if you woke up with no fear tomorrow? Would your life be any different? And maybe it wouldn't be, because when you're in the process of working through these fears on a daily basis, the fear can just simply be a fear of being out of control and being with a shaman for 3.5 hours and her taking you into the depths of where you don't want to go. Or it could be something much, much greater if we put scale to them. So, a question: how does it feel in your body? Where do you feel discomfort? For me, it's my stomach. It's around my sacral, my solar plexus. Where do you feel it? Is it the lump in your throat? Is it right down in the base of your belly? Or is it this fluttering anxiety? Where do you feel these states? To jump on a plane and move back home to be with my family without the fear of not being able to make enough money. Yeah, I feel that for sure. So if we look at all of these on the right, turbulence, control, constriction, unease, expectation, stress, just say some of those words to yourself and see where they land. Because all the words we say carry an energy. So turbulence, where do you feel that? Where do you feel control? Control for me is a tightening around my heart. It's a tightening in my throat. And what's your natural reaction? So when you experience these states, do you fix? How can I fix this problem? Is it a problem? How can I create conditions? How can I change this situation? Or can I step back and be with it? So, what else we got? Jumped out of a plane and didn't enjoy it. I love that. Well, maybe I won't. You feel it in your chest and your stomach, Olivia. Yeah. Palpitations, difficulty breathing. Yeah, for sure. And those are all the things associated with anxiety. It's this closing. So you feel them in the body. And the underlying current of all of these is fear. If you think about emotional turbulence, there's a fear. Control is a fear of being out of control, that the world is happening around us and we can't do anything about it. Now, how often is your internal state dictated by the weather? Mm-hmm. How often do we give our peace away depending on whether it's raining or whether it's sunny? Or unease, that feeling that something's slightly off, or expectation. To trade your expectation for appreciation will totally change your existence of life. So, fear. So we're going to dive into today the need for control as one of those shadow states that comes into fear. And so if we look at what a shadow state is, shadow state in this context, and there's lots of different definitions, but for the purpose of today, we're looking at shadow state as an energetic frequency that keeps you stuck in a low vibration. So those heart palpitations, the tightness, the stickiness, the constriction, those are what come when you experience the need for control. Well, my life is supposed to be a different way, but I'm pulling to get there, and then I'm creating this friction and this resistance. And what that does is, if you imagine your heart has the ability to open and close, when you try to control something, the energy around your heart closes. And it's natural. The need to control is so natural because our minds are conditioned to protect us. But we don't need protecting from our external environment if we have inner peace. These patterns that we run, well, I shouldn't go on that date with that guy because he might hurt me. So I'm going to protect myself from that. I'm going to close my heart. I'm going to close my energy because I've learned a pattern for coping as a response to danger or pain. And in doing that, we deny our personal power. We give away our power to something outside of ourselves. And this is one of the biggest things that I would love you to take away from today is that you hold all the power. When you control your internal state, when you have mastery of your emotions, when you are able to look at these shadows and transmute them into something else, you hold all the power. No matter what situation you're thrown into, nobody can take that away from you. So when you give away your personal power, that could look like allowing other people to be in control, because Maybe you don't have confidence in yourself. Maybe you don't trust in your life. So again, if you want to drop it in the chat, what does control look like for you? What's the key area in your life that you feel that constriction, that tightness, that need to control? Is it relationships? Is it around your work? Is it around your health? Because the energy behind things is what we're looking at here. So I could work out 6 days a week because I love being fit and healthy. And I can listen to my body and I can nourish my body with what it needs. And that's a flow state. That's not coming from the need to control because I need to look a certain way, or I'm acting out of shame or low self-worth, or I don't trust that my body's okay. So just dropping in, you feel like your stomach's falling out of your body. Yeah, work and health. Yeah, big one. I feel that, a big one with work. Relationships. How often do we try and control somebody else's behavior and create conditions around the love we're going to give for somebody, simply because we're held in this shadow, because we're held in this pattern that we think we're protecting ourselves. The next stage of denying personal power is blaming somebody else for what's happening to you. So nobody else can take away your power. If you realize that you are the unlimited source of your own happiness, your own joy, your own bliss, your own pleasure, all of that, as women especially, we have access to. And when we think that when we come into this victim, and we all do, I fall into this. Last week, I felt like the universe was against me. And why does this happen to me? Was the story. Why does this happen to me? I'm like, well, why not? Why not? And if I take complete responsibility for that situation, I should have tested my tech. There we go. Truth, hold up my hands. I should have tested my tech. But the illusion is that we can give that away, that somebody else can give us the love that we're seeking for, that somebody else can fill that gap. But when you realize that you are whole, there's nothing to be controlled. And often when we are under this shadow of control, people can feel pretty laid back. And this may land for, you meet people that are like, yeah, I'm so chill, whatever. I'm fine. Do whatever. And underneath it, they're actually just running from their responsibility. They're running from their personal power. Because stepping into your personal power is one of the most terrifying things you can do. Where you say, I control my reality. I am in charge of how I feel every day. But it's also the most liberating thing you can do, because you have unlimited potential. We all do. So then the flip side of that is the control freak. And I definitely have fallen into this in the past. I still do from time to time. And there's no shame here. This is just like a real humanness. And in sharing these moments is like, I have a very deep spiritual practice, but this still happens. I still look at this shadow of control and I'm like, you're still here? You're still here. Okay, we'll go there again. What can we learn? And so, everything in your immediate environment has to be controlled. This is this conditional happiness, the conditional love, the conditional success. And what the control freak in us doesn't realize is that we're always moving those goalposts. That destination will never hit, because you can hit, you can meet the love of your life and then it's the next thing. You can hit a milestone in your business and then the goalposts move. And it's always external. And then there's this repressed tension that happens in us. Again, from the closing of the heart, because nothing's allowed to flow. You think about all of this, you think about controlling every aspect of your life, it feels tense, it feels horrible. Because nothing's flowing in or out. And all of the things that we want, abundance, love, they're all flow states. They all come from states of being rather than states of doing. And this is really when we resist the natural process of death and rebirth. As women together, we all experience this on a monthly basis, and it's the most beautiful gift. It really is, to be able to honor your natural cycle, to be able to see when something needs to die, whether that's a relationship, whether that's something in yourself an aspect of your being that you no longer need because it's not serving you or you've evolved past it. And the growth is just allowing what's happening to just be here. And that's what I was reminded of to share with you all this today from my experience this morning, is just to be with what's happening. Can you allow yourself to be in the discomfort? It took me a long time to learn. Can you allow yourself to just be in it? And there's practices and there's ways that we can dive into, exactly how to be in it and to expand into it and to make it something that's fun and lighthearted, because spiritual work can get a bit po-faced from time to time. We'll take ourselves very seriously because we're doing very deep work, and we are, but it can be light and it can be fun, and then you want to do it. And the last thing is that we don't need fixing. We're not broken. And these states, these emotional states that we experience, they're not wrong. They're just different states. So, a break. This is why I set a timer, because I can keep going. What is alchemy? Alchemy is transforming lead into gold. For us, that means transforming the shadows so that we are dripping in gold energetically. And that feels so much more expansive, because we're all made of stardust. The fact that we are here is a miracle. If you zoom out to just this experience that we have all decided to be in this moment together, all of these things align so that we are here right now is beyond comprehension. And so transforming shadows is the same thing. It is the process of churning this energy, looking at it, sitting in it, and allowing it to move through you. Because we are the vessels that all of this work moves through us. Why? Because love is our true nature. We are made of love. And the fear gives us the capacity to love more. If we can hold both, if we can hold the darkness and the light, if we look at fear as if it's darkness and love as if it's light, and this is something that I'm talking about a lot now, is I'm not all love and light. The way that I coach is not love and light. It's darkness and light. Because you need the darkness so that you can see the light. Does that make sense to you all? Because there's something missing if we're just focusing on the love and light. So can you hold both? Can you hold the duality of your fear and love? And this is something that's really helpful to remember, is am I spiraling into fear, or can I spiral into faith? Where are you heading? And so there's a few ways of doing this. Check the time, okay. Embracing your humanness. And that's everything that we've been talking about up till now. Embracing the fact that we are human and we have this multitude of emotions. We are multidimensional human beings. And that's okay. And to normalize that. And that there are ups and downs, and there are always going to be ups and downs. There's never going to be this moment. Even when you have these beautiful mystical experiences, the mind drops back in and it's like, hey, how's your boyfriend? Worried about that relationship? Well, I wasn't, now I am. Because it's there, it's conditioned, this is what it does. But embracing and knowing that happens, that knowing we flow through these cycles allows you to feel your feelings. And it allows you to face the darkness, to be able to hold more space for that inside you through these cycles. Because every emotion we experience is energy moving. Emotion is energy in motion. So these fear emotions are just flowing through us. And when the heart stays open, they're allowed to flow. And the way to do this is to shift from your head to your heart. And I think, Olivia, you'll remember when I said this to you, we are about 20 centimeters from our enlightenment, from our head to our heart. That's it. That's all it takes, is to literally shift from here to here. It's not always that easy. And I just love this. I put this in here because I love Terence McKenna. I love everything he does. Alchemizing fear. This is how magic is done. By hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a featherbed. Because on the other side of our fear is everything that we want. Literally everything. The freedom, the abundance, the flow, the love, the joy, the bliss, the fulfillment, the sense that we are home and whole, it literally all lives on the other side of our fear, which we feed. So alchemy is also about cutting out the feeding the fear. And that starts with the awareness. So I'm going to take you through a few steps for how to actually alchemize awareness, alchemize energy. And the first step is awareness. So catching yourself in these frequencies. So meditation, mindfulness, yoga, all of these practices are beautiful because they train us to notice. They train our minds. Our mind is this amazing muscle that we don't know how to use. And I don't meditate to meditate. I meditate because of the way that it makes me a different person. It makes me a better person because I catch myself in these frequencies. I can catch myself in a shadow of control or turbulence this morning. Like, oh, I'm playing this story. Okay, I've caught this frequency. Let's sit with it. But I'm aware that I'm in it. You know, there's the judgment, there's the shame, there's the pettiness. These are all just the shadows that when we become aware of them, then we have the power to change them. And so just noticing what starts to trigger these. So if we look at control for the purpose of this today, what triggers your need for control? What situations instantly make you feel that closing in your heart? And you can write it in the chat or pop it down, journal, wherever. But I would love to hear a few. What triggers your control? For me, it's social media. I feel completely out of control with social media when I get lost in a spiral of looking at what everybody else is doing. And then I feel my energy tighten. And I start to overproduce. And I start to act out of a fear that I'm not enough. And I feel that every time. Social media is one of my best teachers. I'm so grateful that we have this as a tool for our evolution and for our growth. Doesn't always feel like that. I'm stuck in the state for a bit longer. It can take me a little while to realize. But just looking at your trigger. So what triggers you to feel control? Feeling judged or threatened? Yeah, totally, I feel that. And that judgment, what does that cause you to act? You act out of an energy of fear of being judged. We're defensive. And then we're closed. Comparing myself to others in terms of achievements. Yeah, totally. I feel that. And then we overproduce, and the energy that we do anything from is felt and it's mirrored back to us. So if we take social media, for example, if we start creating from a place of scarcity, of lack, of fear, of constriction, then there's an urgency to that. And that's going to be mirrored back to us. And we're going to keep getting that lesson until we learn. Responsibilities with work and the idea of people not agreeing and accepting me. Yeah, totally. Will they like what I'm doing? So I'm going to try even harder. And they'll probably like me less because I'm not being authentic. Because when you're rooted in your truth, you don't give a fuck. We don't. I don't need you to like me because I like me. And that's hard. That's a hard place to get to. And this control of shadow does not want us to get there. It takes its time. It takes its toll. But every time this lesson comes up, and the invitation for you today is to take this trigger and just notice it. Working with the shadows in the way that I work with them is a really gentle process. You just notice, oh, it's here again. Okay. So I'm not going to create on social. I'm going to step away. I'm going to do the opposite of what I normally do. I'm not going to play out the same pattern. I'm not going to do what I normally do when people don't agree with me or I feel like they're not accepting me. In fact, I'm going to pause and just be with the awareness. Yeah. When you've been faking it, and then the energy of faking it takes so much out of us. So just speaking to that, Heidi, it's not that I don't care if people don't like me, it's that I don't need them to like me. Because I would love all of you to be my best mate. I would love more friends. I love having more people in my community. I love having more friends. I love people. That's why I do what I do. But I don't need you. I don't need your approval. I don't need you to validate me. Because when I sit with me, I know I got this. And that's really what this is all about. So just to speak to that, because it is, we can get caught in those stories as well. And then you can go so far. And I definitely have done that. I don't need anybody. I'm empowered. I'm going to live this way. And you alienate people. And actually, we all want love and connection, but we don't need love and connection from others. Does that make sense? I just wanted to speak to that as we move on. Taking up a little tea break. I've been so excited to share this. I'm so happy you're all here. Trying to be liked, my career, my parents, my relationship to self-worth. Yeah, all of those. I feel all of those, Alicia. And so there's a perspective shift. Why do these things happen to me? Why do I experience them? Why am I in this shadow? Why do I feel the need to control? Why do I feel anxiety? Why do I need these people to like me? Okay, well, that's what I'm being given. Everything in my life is happening for me. So everything you've just written is a signpost for your growth. Every single trigger we have is a signpost. It's the light of your awareness. Nobody else is your awareness being shone and saying, here you go, babe. There's the road. Are you going to walk down it? And sometimes we're like, no, not yet. Okay. And then it's like, I told you, here's the road. And what's happened to me over the past with working with various teachers is that it's like, I told you, here's the road. Now walk. Like, okay. So the awareness and cultivating the awareness when you start to recognize these things like we are today makes it a softer process. So I just invite you to shift, to notice that state of control, to notice the triggers, to do something different when it comes, and just to be grateful for it. No, what is this here to show me? And we're going to move on to that. So personal responsibility is your ability to respond. So when you notice the shadow, how do you respond? What do you do? When you see the trigger, do you throw your toys out the pram and, oh God, this is here again? Maybe for a moment. And that's also okay because we're human and we're normalizing being human. How do you respond? So just to consider. And then to respond with a feminine energy. So the feminine, the beautiful, divine feminine that is the core of us, is what brought us here, is what calls us into this work, is the flow that we all crave. That moment in a yoga class when your shoulders relax and you can breathe. That is the truth. That is your true nature. And you can always respond with that. And that comes from being rooted in a place of trust. And when you have that root in that place of trust, and I know you've all been there, we've all been there, where your breath is easy. We went there at the beginning, you can go there now. You just close your eyes. Let's do it now, close your eyes. And just breathe. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. Maybe place a hand on your heart or just allow yourself to exhale a few more times. And that softness that you feel right now, that's your feminine power. That's your flow state. That's your vulnerability. That's your authenticity. That's your confidence. That is your unlimited source of who you are in this world. And that's why we do this work, is to connect to her and whoever she is and however she wants to show up. And the more you connect to her, the more you respond from that place, the more all of these things build inside you, the courage, the humanness, the experience, the trust. So the invitation there is to simply pause in your awareness and to breathe, to go back there. And I always put my hand on my heart because it's just a reminder to open my heart. And then ask yourself, What no longer serves me? What am I being shown here? How am I being shown the path to my own healing? And we lead ourselves through life. We call in certain guides, certain teachers, certain people along the way to support us. But we lead ourselves. Now, when I work with people, we walk side by side. We walk this path together. And there are certain things that, maybe I can lead. Oh, I've done this bit, babe. Let me show you. Let's make this a bit easier for you. And there are other parts where you say, wow, I had this experience and this happened. Experience, your experience of this is where you expand from. So 3 journal prompts. What is this here to show me? What can I learn from this? And what am I making this mean? So when we're in these states, what am I making this mean? Am I making this mean that I'm not worthy? Am I making this mean that they no longer love me? Or am I getting my period? Am I making this mean that I'm no good at my job because I didn't make 6 reels this week and that other coach did? Does that mean I can't serve? Does that invalidate me as a person and my experience? If they don't accept me, what do I make? Am I making that mean? Am I creating this? So just checking in. And you can use that across everything. This question has completely transformed my life in so many ways. What am I making this mean? And there's a softness that comes from the heart when you realize that the mind is doing its thing. It's trying to keep you safe. Thank you, mind. I love you, but I don't need you. The heart's taking over now. What if the heart leads? And then the 4th thing is radical acceptance. Universal love, unconditional love. Love for yourself, love for the journey, love for the growth, love for the shadows. Because this is the way that you look at life. If everything is happening for you, there is nothing to fear. You love the process. You don't always love it. I don't have my rose tinted glasses on. It's not always easy, but you can accept it because you trust that it's happening for your growth, for your expansion. Because that's where we're headed. Even being here in this virtual room together, we are headed for expansion. Because in asking these questions, you are vibrating at a different frequency, considering things in slightly new ways and just operating at a different energetic level. That just happens when we get in a room together. But deep trust in life. Trust in life will just set you free. Because the truth, love is your true nature. That's what we come home to. We all want this love, connection, belonging. If you look at all of those triggers for every single one of us, we are triggered by connection with others. We're triggered when we feel we're not enough and we're not whole. And when you embrace the pain, so pain to power, we're talking about the shadows as being the pain, right? And we're changing the narrative around them even being pain because they're now catalysts for our growth. But when you stand in the shit and it is all around you and it's painful and it's horrible and you just want it to end, but you surrender to that, you are confirming to yourself that you are strong enough to take it. And that's it. Suffering is this invitation to feel more. I want to feel the depths of my emotion. I want to go right down to the bottom of the barrel and scrape it out and know what it feels like down there. And I have done. Lying on my bedroom floor, beating on the floor, wailing, retching because it's so painful. And I'm okay with that because I know that I'm strong enough to take it. And I also know that on the other side of that, it's a bouncy ball. We bounce down. How high can you bounce up? But to experience both and everything in between. Because we have so many dimensions to us. And the more you create the space for you to feel, the more you invite love in. Can you love yourself in those moments? And if not, what will it take for you to find that? Can you love yourself when nobody else would? You probably think that nobody else would even like you. 2 days before I'm coming on my cycle, I don't think anybody likes me. But I'm okay with that, because I'm okay with feeling those feelings. And I have compassion for myself. Being human is about forgiving yourself. Because we can only hold space for other people as much as we can hold space for ourselves. And that's why you see so much disconnect in the spiritual community and so much spiritual bypassing. Because it is all love and light. Can you hold the darkness for yourself? Can you hold it for another? And if you're here, you're signaling to yourself that you're ready to hold it for yourself. And if we change this, 10 people change their lives, if 10 people take radical personal responsibility for the quality of their lives, how many lives will they touch? And it just ripples. This connection from compassion. I have compassion for you, you have compassion for me. Because we can forgive ourselves in our humanness. So we create space, movement, breath, stillness, journaling, sound, all of these self-care, massage. I love massage, acupuncture. All of these tools, these practices create space for your energy to flow. Where do you feel most in your flow? Drop it in the chat for me. When do you feel in your flow? Is it yoga? Is it meditation? Is it making love? Is it self-pleasure? Is it swimming in the sea? Where do you feel alive? Anytime you're out of your head, yes. Because where are you when you're out of your head? You're in your heart. I see those hands going to your heart, Olivia. It used to be dance and nature, not so much now. What's stopping you? What changed? And it happens. Walking, cooking for people, beautiful cooking, yeah. And why? Because we're creating. You have a natural essence, a creative essence. It's different for every single person here. We all have a zone of genius. We all have a gift here. We all have something to offer. Singing, yes. Oh, expression, creation. We are creative. We are women. We are creators. We create life. So honoring that in you. For years, I thought, I'm not creative because I'm not a painter. No, I don't draw. Your life is your art. The way you live your life is your art. You create everything that you do. Every conversation, every word that you utter, the way that you hold yourself. You are creating energy. And this is really where this turning pain into power in alchemizing energy is so much bigger than just the shadows. You create the vibe you set the moment you wake up. So how can you create more space for that to flow? Because it doesn't come naturally. We're so in this masculine way of being. Do more, work harder, achieve. You're not working hard enough. You're not getting to your goals. Do more. So in the other side of our lives, in our spiritual work, create space. Be still, breathe, cook. Sing while you cook, dance while you cook. Now, those of you that follow me on Instagram, I was dancing in my kitchen. I was having a dance party in the kitchen before I started this. Because you create your life. And I want to live a life that is full of joy. So I create space for it. Because how do they feel? Drop it in the chat. How does love feel in your body? How does joy feel? How does expansion feel? Where do you feel it? Lightness. Yeah, love that. Warm and open, no tension, because it's flowing. Yeah. Weightless. And that's the opposite of control. Control is so heavy. Joy, love, expansion, they're open states. This is the energy is flowing. And this is what comes from that surrender into the shadow. It doesn't mean we stay there. It doesn't mean we live there, but we create space for it just to be, and it will pass. And then the next question is, what's your natural reaction to it? Do you close away from it? This is a whole bigger piece on worthiness and the shame we feel for feeling good and not being able to celebrate for fear of making somebody else feel less. But when we realize we're all more, we can all celebrate together. So just to consider that. And in that, we increase how good our life could be. So increasing your capacity for good energy, for bragging, for doing something wicked and celebrating it. Do you have space for celebration in your life? Do you have people in your life that you can just say, oh my goodness, this was wicked. I did this. I did this. What are you choosing? What energy are you choosing? Are you choosing to shy away from your greatness? And we all do that. But do you have to? What if we called in things being better than we could imagine? Into finding that flow, into living in that state of flow. And that really comes from following through with these processes and living aligned to that. In choosing that you're going to set your energy and then aligning yourself, creating intentional space, calling in people that will celebrate with you, that will help you expand into these larger states of being. And just calling out your friend and being like, this was wicked. Can we celebrate this for a moment? I do that all the time. I have regular dance parties just to celebrate. Because that stops the goalpost moving, just to come back to where we started, with this seeking fulfillment externally. When you take time to celebrate, you are present in that moment, in that experience. Then from there, you say, well, we expand, but we expand from a state of fullness, not from a state of lack to lack to lack. And an open heart is the antidote to fear. Open your heart and fear cannot come. Fear cannot come through a healed heart. And opening your heart, every time you open it, you heal it. So, I'm going to get you all to stand up. And we let me screen share something different. Bear with me. Audio. Okay. Is technology going to work? No. Yes. Just aware that you might not be able to hear me because I turned that up really loud. So I'm going to put that on it again before we do that, I want you to think of something that you did that you are so proud of, and that's something you haven't shared with somebody else. And it can be really small, but something that you are proud of, something you want to celebrate. A brag. What can you brag about? And then you're going to dance to celebrate it. Okay. You can all turn up your screens if you want, but a big part of this is being seen, being brave enough to be seen. I'm not turning my screen off because I love a dance puppy. Okay, let me just stand up and just shake. Do it where you are. Now just close your eyes. Just take a moment. Notice how your body feels. And take some deep breaths. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. What are you calling in? This is a full death and rebirth. In moving your body, you move your energy. You allow things to release. You feel the restriction, that close, the fear, the judgment, ooh, this is a bit embarrassing dancing on a Zoom masterclass. I did warn you in my emails, just for context. You allow those parts of yourself to die as you all started moving more. You dropped that energy. And now you sit here with something different. You feel that. I feel that from all of you. There's a softness in just allowing yourself to release. So now that we've had a mini experience of this, I'd like you to write down, what are you calling in? And you can write it for yourself or drop it in the chat, whatever you like. If you drop it in the chat, we can celebrate together. What are you calling in from this energy? What are you ready for? Who do you have to become? Love, laughter, and purpose. Boom. How do you embody those gifts? And so by who do you have to become? I mean, how do you walk yourself through life as somebody embodying those? And just reflect on that as you move through this week. What are you calling in? What are you ready for? And we're gifted this death and rebirth through winter. It's the season of death. We're in and amongst it. But all of these mini cycles, these mini transformations, your monthly cycle, they're all opportunities to take yourself to move through these processes. What am I calling in? What am I ready for? Who do I have to become? How do I walk myself through life so that I can embody those? Because those are gifts. Love, laughter, purpose, those are gifts. And then I have 3 affirmations for you. So these are feminine power affirmations to use as you wish, however you feel called to. I trust that everything is exactly as it's supposed to be. I trust the divine timing of my path. And I surrender to the flow of life. The divine timing is so interesting because the comparison, the acceptance, they're all based on us being somewhere that we're not, and being further along down our path. And so trusting that it will take as long as it takes. You will get to wherever you're supposed to be. I had a new one-on-one client ask me the other day. She said, we were talking about expansion. And she said, what's our goal? How will I know if it worked? I said, our goal is for you to be the most expanded version of yourself. And we will know when that happens. Because they're not tangible. And this is the nature of this work. It's not tangible, but yet it's the most tangible thing possible. But we play in the intangible. We work in the intangible, in the divine timing, in surrender, in trust. And they change the way you walk. You walk into a room differently when you know that you are rooted in your sense of self. You are rooted in trust in yourself. I trust that every single woman that's supposed to be here with me live today is with me. I trust that what happened last week was exactly what was supposed to happen. And I mean that. It's not lip service. Nothing I say is anything that I don't live. I genuinely trust that. I'm as transparent as I can be. I'm an open book. You can ask me anything about this journey. But the timing, to release the hold, the control on our timing, is to surrender to the feminine flow. And then 3 final reflections. And I love these. I'm so excited to share these with you. I know myself to be what, who, answer it however you will. I know myself to be strong, resilient, soft, weird. I know myself to be those things. I know myself to be that woman. I know myself to show up for people when they need me. To see people in their potential and to hold them to that. I trust that everything is happening for me. And I'm committed to my continual expansion. Those are mine for today. They change every day, but these are really beautiful to integrate into those moments of doubt, or to start your day, or before a presentation, or before when you catch yourself. We keep working with control. When you catch yourself in that state of control, of comparison, of feeling lack and scarcity, come back to this in that moment. I know myself to be, I trust that, and I'm committed to. And allow that to be the energy. 7 o'clock. Wow. Okay, last few slides, I promise, because I really do respect your time. I just get so excited. Be the love you want to see. Everything is mirrored back to you in the universe. You all know this. Be intentional with your energy. Choose how you spend your time. Choose where you spend your time. Choose the clothes that you choose to. Pick the clothes with intentionality. The conversations you have, the quality that you are engaging at. I refuse to engage in these low vibrational frequencies of world topics currently because they drag us down and I don't want to go there. And I choose to take people higher. That's my commitment to myself. Surround yourself with people that support your growth and expand your love and trust, because we need this work more than ever. Right now, we are being called to something greater, And that is to expand in love and trust and to share that with the people around us. Faith in the path, trust in yourself, and love for each other. Okay. Thank you for being here. Final slide. So, thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing this with me. I've been so excited about this, and this is so much better than I thought it would be last week. So, there is an opportunity, an invitation, if you found this work activating. There are ways that we can dive a lot deeper. I hope that you've received a transformation, a physical experience. That is my intention. These aren't just like a webinar that you work your way through and then never think about, but these are actionable things that you can integrate and that you can keep experiencing this transformation for yourself. And then if you want to go deeper, I know some of you are already with me, very exciting. This is a taster for what's coming in Energy Alchemy, which is my new program that I'm launching tomorrow. So Energy Alchemy is 6 weeks of diving into this through the chakra system. Every week we work with a different one of the chakras to guide us how to alchemize energy, how to really transmute this, how to go into different shadows, and how to come out as completely different women. Every time I embark on one of these journeys for myself, I'm a different woman to when I end it. I'm a different person from this with you today. And we just keep catalyzing through this. So because you're here with me, and for those of you watching the replay, hello. Sorry, I haven't spoken to you today yet so far. I have an early bird, which is only exclusively for people on this masterclass. So we can message. It's 544 for the 6 weeks, and we can chat about details if you feel like that's something you want to jump on. There are also VIP options if you want to have one-on-one time to dive into your specific shadows on your path, and there's lots of other opportunities, but it's no pressure. And if anyone wants to jump on a no pressure conversation, we can do that too. So that's it. There are lots of ways we can work together. This work is a treasure trove, and I love sharing it. And I am so grateful for you all being here.